Three R's are important for the reinventing of the broad political arrangement. Whatever be its name, it is a unipolar world. There is struggle for multipolarity. That is true. But end of the day, military-industrial complex of USA and the Zionists of Israel, they together can decide whatever they want. Indian freedom movement stood with Palestinians. Mahatma Gandhi stood with Palestinians.
He long time, man.
Long time. I would like to flag this particular point now. We all stand together. All the Indian political parties in all party meetings said that all suitable steps should be taken to deal with terrorist violence in Pahalgam. But Mr. Narendra Modi and BJP, their track record is something that the respect people have for Rama, that is being sought to be exploited for political purposes. Religiosity in our country is being politically exploited. Of course, not only the majoritarian communal outfit, certain minority communal outfits also try to exploit religiosity for narrow political interest. So, being a communist party, being one of the most important leftist parties, even though we face some problems of decline, our political task is to ensure that the secular democratic political discourse prevails in India, and efforts by various communal forces to transform entire political discourse around religiosity, communalism, casteism, that needs to be handled.
Welcome to a very special interview with Comrade M.A. Baby, who is the General Secretary of the CPIM. And this is a special interview of Cotton. Comrade Baby has recently been elected as the General Secretary of the CPIM. Before that, he was a minister, education minister for government of Kerala. And earlier, he was also a member of Rajya Sabha for 3 terms. He's of course an organizational man, but then he's also a vastly well-read person. Once I had the opportunity to listen to him, and to me, he's an epitome of sobriety and humility. So I'm very happy that today we could, after many schedule and rescheduling, today we could get Comrade Baby. He is in Hyderabad. So Comrade Baby, welcome to this special interview. I'm really thankful to you for sparing time for the Northeast now. Now, before I have a set of questions for you, and before I go to those questions, because we're witnessing a very special situation in the country at the moment, particularly the recent, escalation of tension between India and Pakistan in the aftermath of Pahalgam terrorist attack. And now, suddenly, the US President, Donald Trump, before we heard anything from India and Pakistan, US President Donald Trump, he announced a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. So a third party announcing ceasefire in the India-Pakistan conflict. How do you respond to that, and what is your comment on that?
Thank you very much for having me in this program. We have had occasion to meet in Delhi and with our common friend, Mr. Rubin de Cruz.
Yeah.
Now, as to how one should view the declaration of President of USA, Mr. Donald Trump, that he negotiated, or under his leadership, the ceasefire between India and Pakistan has been negotiated and arrived at. It is, on the one hand, a ceasefire is a positive thing. It is welcome. We all peace-loving people. Even if a particular country harbored terrorists and engineered terrorist action, we would only try to deal with the terrorists, not the country which might have helped these terrorists. That is our approach. But how this statement of Mr. Donald Trump was possible? Because as you have rightly mentioned, Government of India has maintained a position which parties like CPIM also supported, that whatever problems we have with another country, whether it is a neighboring country or otherwise, we would discuss and sort out. We have the competence to handle our problems without the help of a third party. So third party intervention and influence in any problems that India as a country is having with another country, we never encouraged, we never approved. This being the case, how is it that US President made this announcement? Not that he made that announcement once, he made statements buttressing his announcement subsequently. Even when he started his Gulf visit from Saudi Arabia. So it is for the Prime Minister of India to clarify what is the fact. It is true that I am not ignoring the fact that the External Affairs Secretary of India, first of all, in his meet with the media, stated that it was the Director General of Military Operations of Pakistan who telephoned his counterparts in India and offered for a ceasefire, which we also approved. That is how the ceasefire came into practice. In a way, this was an indirect reply to what Donald Trump said. But if he had added that the claims made by any other person, whether it is a head of a state or otherwise, is not in consonance with the facts of the matter, he could have stated without naming if the Government of India is having some, mental problem, especially knowing how Mr. Donald Trump could be an unguided missile before journalists. He may speak out in his own inimitable manner, you see. At least Government of India should have stated that this is the fact. Whatever other claims are about some important people having negotiated between India and Pakistan, that is absolutely unsubstantial. That statement did not come. Therefore, we demand that there has to be a special session of Parliament to discuss matters beginning with what are the circumstances which led to the Pahalgam episode, the most unfortunate, gruesome, point-blank killing of innocent tourists in Pahalgam by a group of terrorists. Indian Home Minister on floor of the Parliament announced that with Union government taking over Jammu and Kashmir as a union territory, everything is under control. That was the claim made by Mr. Amit Shah. Because in Jammu and Kashmir, after Center having taken over it as a union territory, even though there is elections held and Omar Abdullah is the chief minister, being a union territory, even the police is under the control of the center. That is the fact of the matter. So there are questions. How so easily these terrorists could have their operation, cold-blooded murder of innocent people was possible, and they have escaped. No one could be traced. So all those questions, we don't want to kind of raise these issues to embarrass the central government. That is not the idea at all. But if we want to ensure that such cold-blooded murder by terrorists of innocent people won't repeat in future, this is required. The security lapses should also be discussed. So not only Donald Trump declaration, whether it is correct or not, but Pulwama incident and its aftermath, a special session needs to be convened, and these things are to be unequivocally explained there by Prime Minister.
You have very comprehensively answered my question. You say that, okay, the third party negotiation, third party intervention should be there, and Government of India should come categorically, they should clarify it, that whether there was a third party intervention, or they should deny it categorically in reference to US President Donald Trump. And beyond that, you have said that, okay, how could this Pahalgam happen? So all the issues related to these things, so you demand, like other political parties have demanded, there should be a special parliamentary session where all these issues could be discussed internally so that comprehensive, solutions could be found to these problems. So thank you very much for your answer. Now, of course, as I discussed with you on the phone that, okay, this interview was meant to be a general, because you have become the General Secretary of the CPIM very recently. So that is why I wanted to have some kind of a general discussion related to certain policies, general situation in the country, and so on and so forth. So coming to my next question, now how do you read the political situation in the country, present country, in India today?
You see, we have had the Lok Sabha election 1 year ago, 2024. And that election is without doubt a turning point in the recent history of Indian politics. I would say that the fact that Mr. Narendra Modi lost the majority he had in 2014 Lok Sabha election and 2019 Lok Sabha election. Now, Mr. Modi is continuing as Prime Minister, not because of any majority BJP has on Lok Sabha. As BJP leader, he is heading a minority government. He, as a political party, is very much against minority, but it is an interesting situation. He now being a minority in Lok Sabha with two crutches from Nitish Kumar of JDU and our friend TDP leader Chandrababu Naidu from Andhra Pradesh. He is surviving as the leader. So we find Mr. Narendra Modi as a political leader he is looking for possibilities of improving the standing of his own political party, thereby his own personal standing as a political leader in the coming days. In such a situation is when this Pahalgam has happened. Of course, he has to, as the Prime Minister, personally holding that very important office in our country, he has to take necessary steps to deal with the situation. But like what he tried to do with Pulwama earlier and Balakot, which he tried to, make use of in the political situation. We have our apprehension that there would be effort to politicize Operation Sindoor also. So in a larger context, I would like to flag this particular point now. We stand together, all the Indian political parties in all party meetings said that all suitable steps should be taken to deal with terrorist violence in Pahalgam. But Mr. Narendra Modi and BJP, their track record is something that the respect people have for Rama, that is being sought to be exploited for political purposes. Religiosity in our country is being politically exploited. Of course, not only the majoritarian communal outfit, certain minority communal outfits also try to exploit religiosity for narrow political interest. So, being a communist party, being one of the most important leftist parties, even though we face some problems of decline, our political task is to ensure that the secular democratic political discourse prevails in India, and efforts by various communal forces to transform entire political discourse around religiosity, communalism, casteism, that needs to be handled. Here, the 24th Party Congress has taken an important decision that growing religiosity in our country demands especially to differentiate between innocent believers of religion and those who try to communalize religiosity. So the party decision is to mobilize believers for the fight in defense of secularism. If we fail to mobilize believers in the fight for secular values in Indian society, these believers would be left to the mercy of communal forces. Communal forces would be catching hold of them and communalizing them. The beauty of Indian democracy now is that substantial sections of people with religiosity, they have not turned communal. So the non-communal believers are to be mobilized as part of the secular, democratic, progressive, broad movement. This is a short-term task as well as a long-term task. Along with this, we have to take up livelihood issues of all sections of people, because when you mobilize people on livelihood issues, people belonging to all religions and castes they come for fighting against price rise. They come and join for fight for employment. You see, people belonging to all religion, they are unemployed. People belonging to every religion, they face the difficulty of price rise. So, like living issues, livelihood issues, on that we should generate general struggles, local struggles, so that transcending caste communal division, people at large can be mobilized for their own problems. In that, believers should also form a particular contingent, an important contingent. So, in dealing with the present-day political scenario, we have to have a very clear-cut approach. This is what our 24th Party Congress enunciated.
You have made, I think, 3 major points. It is for my clarification and also for the audience. One is that, okay, you think that, okay, this in 2024 election, general election, Lok Sabha election, Narendra Modi, the BJP, they didn't have the clear mandate. They are depending on 2 crutches. One is Chandrababu Naidu, another is Nitish Kumar. But you are also saying that, okay, as they have done, as they did earlier, so they may try to use the Sindur issue, Operation Sindur issue, for election purposes. But here I have little doubt because of the Donald Trump declaration and because of the overall situation, I don't think that BJP is in a, they could aggressively promote this thing, because the situation in the country, I don't think that it is in favor of that. Okay, that apart, you have made 2 very important points, and I would like to discuss that. There is some theoretical aspect to it. So far, your party Congress is concerned, because of the prevailing situation in the country, the BJP is trying to divide the country on religiosity, so a divisive politics on religion. You are saying that the people, the believers, the innocent believers, that means the religious, yeah, people, they have, people may practice religions, they may believe in it. And religion as such, as a true believers, that they are different. And the people who use religion for political purposes, that's the communal use of religion. Now, I have seen in social media and many platforms, so many people belonging to the leftist thinking, and there is my personal differences with them also, though at times I do not make it very clear. But then, see, religion as such, religion, if we consider religion, because religion speaks about peace, religion speaks about brotherhood, religion speaks about mercy, all the good virtues. So the true religions. So, but I see some people, particularly belonging to the left thinking, that they're I find them criticize religious people, religion as a whole. So criticizing religion as a whole and to criticize the communal forces who try to use religion, because there are, in India, it's a vast country, and I've seen that there are many people, religious people, but they are not communal. So your party Congress has made it clear. It seems that, okay, where religion as such, religious belief, faith, there's no problem with that. But when the religion is used for politicizing, for political purposes, there is a problem. Am I clear?
Yeah, here you see, you are right. What you have stated is true that there are some comrades from the left or from the Communist Party. They stress the difference with religion more in the name of dialectical and historical materialism. They spend time theoretically critiquing religion and belief in God and things like that. I would say that these comrades do a mistake innocently. Dialectical and historical materialism is theoretically very important. That is for communist cadres to study, to understand the world, to understand the universe. Dialectical and historical materialism is important. But we should understand the minds of the people also. You see, when you try to understand the minds of the people, majority of them are believers, except for Scandinavian countries, Nordic countries. There, because of the working of social democracy, which takes care of most of the livelihood issues of all the citizens, only 7-8% practice religion. Rest of the people, they have good education, they have good job, they have good life. So they don't have to think about, they don't have to pray to a God, please save us, please protect us. You see, it is a situation there. Now, coming to a country like India, I think over 90% would be believers in India. It's a very wild guess I am making. I know parts of India, I know Kerala more. You see? See, this is an issue which Marx and Engels settled. When in 1964, the first International Working Men's Association was formed, there was this debate within the International Working Men's Association. This Russian revolutionary, Mikhail Bakunin, he is a hardcore revolutionary, quote unquote. He demanded that only those who don't believe in religion or God should be admitted to International Working Men's Association. That was Bakunin. Marx and Engels said, it's a very unscientific and erroneous understanding to say so. We are, what we are. We follow dialectic, materialism. We are materialists. We know material world is primary. Spiritual world also is there, that is secondary. Spiritual world comes out of the material world. It is an outgrowth of material world. We have ideas, thinking and all that. It is a result of the brain, matter. Brain is a matter, you see. Thinking is the quality of the entire nervous system. So, long and short, Marx and Engels said, against what Bakunin said, every believer of religion and God, if he or she is willing to join hands with the working class movement, they should be permitted to join International Working Men's Association. So Marx and Engels, they were very clear. But some of the comrades in our country, they are not sufficiently clear. Some of them follow the line of Mikhail Bakunin, the wrong line, which Marx and Engels fought in 1864, centuries ago. Now, Indian Party has become more conscious about this. Also, in view of the objective situation that prevailing in our country, this new approach, which in fact Marx and Engels developed, Lenin it further strengthened it, Ho Chi Minh further strengthened it. Ho Chi Minh admitted Buddhists into the Vietnamese Communist Party, Workers' Party of Vietnam. That was the name of Vietnamese Communist Party earlier. So we have to deal with these questions also to strengthen the secular, democratic, progressive movement in Indian context.
I would not like to go into those theoretical details, but you have made a very clear point here, which I think the people in the left circle, they need to pay attention to that religion. So don't attack religion as such, because that is going to be counterproductive. When we do not know, you have made a wild guess, same is with me also, that we do not know. But then majority of the people, 90%, 80%, they are religious, they are believer, they believe in God. They may be Christians, they may be Hindus, they may be Muslims, or whatever, but they are believers. And they are strongly against the divisive politics of the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP. Exactly. So why do you criticize unnecessarily your friends because of their beliefs? Instead, you should bring them together and you should leave religion aside, isn't it? That's what you want to say.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think people should understand. People should, instead of going to those all details, this is, one should understand this thing very clearly. Exactly. Because even Gandhi was a very political person. But Gandhi said that religions, for him, the essence of religion was justice. He never believed in, you see, these religious rituals and things. He criticized severely. This Kumbh Mela, he criticized very severely. He never used to go to Kumbh Mela and other places. He and say maybe 70 years before, he criticized Kumbh Mela very clearly. So I'm very happy that you have made this point. Now, this question was, I'm not only confining itself to the left, because the prevailing situation in the country, it needs that the opposition political parties, all the opposition political parties, I think that is why the India Alliance was formed, that they have to fight this BJP, the menace of BJP, unitedly. And there was a thinking that in the last parliamentary election, it was thought that, okay, Narendra Modi, he didn't have the clear mandate. So he's dependent on these two persons. And he'll be much more, you see, he'll be much more careful, and he will not be that, the BJP will not be that aggressive this time. But in reality, we have found that BJP has remained very aggressive with all their policies and things. So now, what I wanted, theoretically, the political parties, left, Congress, and other political parties, they feel that there should be a united opposition, a very strong, formidable opposition to the BJP. And if we don't have that, it is impossible to actually defeat BJP. But why is not happening? Why is not that happening?
See, this is a question which most right-thinking people are asking. You see, the India bloc cooperation, I would like to call. It was very important in reducing BJP and Narendra Modi into a minority in the present Lok Sabha. When you go through the figures, you realize that the difference between the India bloc arrangement and NDA was around 2%, voting percentage-wise. This also means that if the India bloc political parties were more careful in doing everything at the time of the last Lok Sabha election, perhaps there could have been possibility of the entire NDA getting reduced into a minority. This is what I would like to say. Now, there is no point in lamenting about that. We have to draw appropriate lessons from that experience. Last Lok Sabha election. We have another around 4 years' time to prepare for the next Lok Sabha election. We have to be very, very careful during this time. And each political party has a responsibility to be more responsible, more responsive, and more realistic. I use 3 R's. Responsibility should be there with all political parties. They should be responsive to the situation. They should be realistic of the situation. Realistically to assess one's own influence and also the influence of the other parties with whom you are cooperating. Sense of responsibility is very important. Then we have to respond properly to emerging political situations. So 3 R's are important for the reinventing of the broad political arrangement. Whatever be its name, this political arrangement has to be harnessed, sharpened, and made effective. But you see, even when India was ruled by BJP from Delhi, the state of Delhi was not under BJP rule.
Yes.
Till the last assembly election. How BJP was able to capture the state of Delhi also. What is the replay? 2 important India bloc parties, of which one is the official party of the opposition in Lok Sabha. The other is the ruling party in Delhi. Both these belong to India bloc alliance, but they could not cooperate to isolate and defeat BJP. They also fought each other, which BJP made use of. What should be the lesson from this for India bloc? For me, it is very simple. There are problems within the parties of India bloc. And there are places where these India bloc parties would be compelled to contest each other due to the prevailing objective political situation in a province. However, this is important. However, these parties belonging to India bloc, if due to variety of reasons, they are compelled to fight each other somewhere, they should be very clear that their future might would not be exploited by BJP or NDA parties to their advantage. They should be responsible enough to understand this reality. If these India bloc parties decide, come what may, we will fight and settle our score. If they behave so irresponsibly, that is 1 R, 3 R's I mentioned. If they behave with lack of responsibility, BJP will take advantage. India bloc parties would be fighting each other to the advantage of BJP and NDA. So this principle, we may be permitted to fight, though we are parties of India bloc, due to the specific situation in a state. Okay, but ensure that BJP or NDA partners are not making advantage of the situation. This is the submission. On behalf of CPIM, I would like to present before my other India bloc partners.
No, you are very realistic. And one thing, just I want to underline one thing. So far this responsibility thing is concerned, I think each party in the India bloc, they need to feel the dire necessity of defeating the BJP for the people of India, for the sake of the people of India. That realization, if they realize that, I understand that here and there might be some conflict among the Indian bloc parties, that one can always understand that. But the paramount importance, paramount understanding is that, you see, we are facing such a big challenge in the country. We need to understand that. And if we realize that, if we internalize that, then maybe we could be much more cohesive and formidable in fighting them. I feel that. Now, this question is also related. This is about your party. This is about the left. I'm coming. So in the first parliament of independent India, left was the main opposition. Even during the UPA 1 and UPA regime, left has a very substantial, considerable presence in the parliament. But now we have seen what has happened. Increasingly, the presence of left is diminishing. I don't belong to any political party, but I see the important role left played during the UPA regime, particularly in passing many pro-people laws. And we had 3 states, 2 very important states, one Kerala, another Bengal, and another small state where left parties combined, they were in power. Now, the situation is changed. So, how to respond and react to it? And being a new General Secretary, I think it is a very challenging task for you. While scheduling and rescheduling this interview, I came to know that you are on tour, visiting state after state, maybe perhaps attending to these organizational matters. So your party, maybe I'm saying, the you see, improvement, the role of the left parties, if they become stronger, that is so good for Indian democracy.
True.
Now, so you have a big responsibility. So how do you respond to that? And then what is your plan? Whichever, if some of the things you can speak, of course, I don't want you to speak everything, but then if some of the things you could speak and share with me, because that will be inspiring for the people of the larger left.
See, first of all, CPIM being the most important left party and most important communist party, there are at least 3 communist parties which are active in public sphere. Other than, I'm speaking from Hyderabad. In Telangana and certain places, certain Maoist outfits are also there who don't believe in democratic political activity and struggle. So CPM, CPI, CPI-ML, these three communist parties are there. Then other left parties are there, like RSP and Foro Bloc. There is a general decline of the left, including the influence of CPIM. It is not just the electoral, numbers of parliament members or state legislatures. Even now, CPM together in Bihar, in the assembly we have 16, 2 CPM, CPI and CPIML 2. Elections are around the corner there. So left plays an important role in the Bihar elections. Left presence is not negligible there.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah. So,
they have a very important role.
So that decline is there, which is worrying not only people like us who are working in this Communist Party and left parties.
It's also worries us.
People who are well-meaning and who wants progressive democratic forces to emerge in Indian society, so that the Indian political discourse would be more meaningful, more pro-people. You see, that factor is there. So some
and we want our democracy to be actually qualitatively better.
That's right. And some people ask, does left have a future? Then there is a question: is there any future for us without a left? You see, these questions are interconnected. So you ask, as the General Secretary of CPM, what are the steps you propose to take to strengthen CPM and strengthen the left? Of course, the decisions of our 24th Party Congress, if those decisions are faithfully implemented at every level, there would be substantial change in the influence of CPM and the left, for which General Secretary has to play a part, but we have more able Politburo members, Central Committee members, and we consider every party member is expected to play an important role. There are some organizational problems. We have to reactivate our organization. You see, there are some branches of our party which are not sufficiently active. They are active, but they are not sufficiently active. Then working among all sections of masses, spending time with masses of people, especially those who live in Jugri, Bastis, you see, the rural poor, the urban poor. The Communist Party has to spend more time with these sections of people. We generally go to speak to them. What we have decided is that we should go to them first, not to speak to them, but to listen to them, find their problems, find their worries. Then party should take certain concrete steps to ameliorate their plight. So there has to be a change in our work style. Then I have already mentioned in a different context the religiosity in our Indian society and an approach where believers are also taken into confidence and made part of the broad movement of the left, movement of the toiling masses. The caste factor is very important in India.
I'm coming to that.
Okay,
my next question is
Okay. So, is he addressing all different, segments of Indian society and organizing each and every segment of society? It is important to organize working class, peasantry, agricultural labor, youth, student, women. But LGBTQ, they have also their right. There are Dalits and Adivasis living in distant places. Many a time, their plight is not sufficiently understood. Long and short, there are organizational rejuvenation that is required. A mass line in our working. Leadership of every level They should spend more time with different sections of people, learning from them, and also teaching them to understand society. First, we have to learn from them. Then only we should start teaching something which they are missing due to a variety of reasons. Our style of work needs to be changed. Routinism is a problem with our functioning. Even taking up problems, we organize a token dharna for 12 hours. Then we feel that we have taken up the issue. So local problems should be taken up and struggle should be conducted. At least part of the demands are met. Then there would be a feeling that this democratic struggle yielded some immediate result. So we have had detailed discussion, and the question is of putting it into practice. That's why we keep moving to states and discussing with comrades and trying to activate them so that they will go and activate middle level committees. This exercise should go up to the branch level. We have nearly 100,000 primary units throughout the country, 1 million members of the party, and 50 million members of various class and mass organizations. If we are able to activate them, bring them into the struggle path, bring them into the organizational activity paths, we can make significant changes. But we have to work patiently. We also discussed and decided in the party congress that we shall try to get immediate result. But even if immediate result is not there, we have to patiently work so that we would be able to make a turnaround and we would be able to stage a comeback.
There are two things I just want to ask you. That means that's my understanding. You made it clearly that you say at times I see it, even Assam I see it, and I privately convey it to them, and I don't speak about it publicly because it may send wrong messages. So what I feel, as you said, that okay, this ritualism has to be abandoned. Ritualism of protest. As you said, that you did a 12-hour dharna as if it is done. I have seen that celebration of this, that you see, you do this day, you celebrate this day, you celebrate that day, and you, what I have seen, I'm just sharing these thoughts with you. And you tire your, you see, workforce, and you are not able to do anything in a very sustained manner. As you said, that if you can do partially resolve some of the issues, you are not able to do that. And then it actually tired the entire force. That I'm very happy that you have mentioned here that, okay, that doing that will not lead you anywhere. That's very, very important. Now, I had another question. I'll skip that. I'll come to that later on. But this question is very much what you have said to you. And my question was, you have already mentioned that there are thousands of whole-timers in your party. I think they are committed and dedicated people. They also claim that they understand the political situation and the political urgency of the day better than anyone. When the entire country is facing a crisis today, should the left think and act beyond their party interest and take an all-out initiative in uniting the people so that the present regime could be replaced? This is linked up with your earlier question. You said that you need to strengthen your organization internally. So I am going a little beyond that.
There, you see, the idea that you brushed over is party its influence being harnessed into struggles, it's important. But CPIM should go beyond its influence base, and a lot of well-meaning people around our society, how to bring them also together into a massive movement for effecting a regime change. You see, a change in the socio-economic situation. See, we want to do this, but we have to make different sections of people conscious of the requirement of such a transformation in our society. The leadership having that consciousness is one thing. Then society, substantial sections of society also getting this consciousness is important. You see, we have just very nearby in Sri Lanka certain developments. You see, there was one communist stream. There was a Communist Party of Sri Lanka, but there is another Marxist-Leninist organization called Janata Vimukti Peramuna. You see, that is People's Liberation Front. This has been functioning since mid-60s, and they had a revolutionary upsurge in 1971, which was suppressed. Long and short, they have been working, and when a couple of years ago, there was massive popular unrest against all the established political parties in Sri Lanka. It's a popular upsurge. These Janata Vimukti Peramuna comrades also participated in that. And the popular movement accepted Janata Vimukti Peramuna to be part of it. Then the rulers had to leave the country, all those things you remember. Then finally, there was elections held. First, there was election for the president's post. So, this AKD, Dissanayaka, that is the name of the present president, he had contested for the post of presidency 5 years ago. Then he got less than 5%, 4% and little more. Within 5-year period, he got substantial votes. In the second counting, he became the president. That is, a leader of a communist party is the elected president of Sri Lanka now, this Nayaki. Your question is whether something similar, though you did not put that question like that, why cannot there be a massive movement of people in which not only CPIM and those who are sympathetic to it, class and mass organization, but a broader movement, how you are unable to generate? So then my mind immediately went to Sri Lanka, the Sri Lankan experience. Which was Janata Vimukti Peramuna was a small party like CPM, but all on a sudden, making best use of the situation, they emerged as a big party. Then, when parliament election was held after the presidential election, you might have followed. Janata Vimukti Peramuna won 3/4 of the parliament seats. Now they are going to amend the constitution. How things will unfold there is a different matter. So we have to prepare ourselves for big transformation, and also we have to wait for the appropriate unfolding of the political situation to make use of that. You cannot make a political situation to order. You see, you cannot order a political situation congenital, convenient to you. You have to wait and watch the development of political situation. You have to keep the gunpowder ready. That is organization.
Maybe here I little disagree with you because there is the question of agency. There's the question of agency. So, should you be waiting for it, or you will do something for it?
It's a dialectical process.
And I here in India, I think here in India, even yesterday I met some. They are of course not from the left, other parties. I met them. I told them that the situation in Assam, don't think that the situation in Assam is very much favorable to BJP. People are not happy with them. But what they do not see is that the opposition coming together and taking a very strong stand. That's what actually is lacking in. I think the situation is very much right. Very much right. And when I meet people here, I tell the same thing. Even my friends in the left, I say that you see, you people understand the situation much better. So I request you, please go beyond your party lines. Organize the other people.
We will definitely keep your advice in mind, which is a right advice. And as a agency, as a force, we have our duty in making people properly prepared also. Then the environment and surroundings will also evolve. You see, the JP movement in the beginning of 70s. You see, the situation was right. Then a leader like Jayaprakash Narayanan, who retired from active politics, he came back. He took the leadership. Then EMS, who was joint secretary with Jayaprakash Narayanan as the Congress Socialist Party, EMS started, working with Jayaprakash Narayanan and talking to him. So something similar we have to work. History will not repeat in the same manner, but that the political forces also have their responsibility to work and transform the situation. Then the situation would also rework on political parties.
I would also like to say here, history will also not pardon us if we don't perform our historical duties, responsibilities, as you say, tears.
Yeah.
History will not pardon us here, because we are facing a crisis. We are facing a big challenge in the country. So now, of course, so we'll have to be very positive, and we'll have to see how we can take things forward.
That's right.
And now I have only 2 questions. Now my question is, caste and nationality questions have been influencing Indian politics for decades. Do you think Indian Marxists have been able to deal with both the issues properly? First one was about religion, and next one is about caste.
That's right. That's right. You see,
these are 2, I'm saying you, these are 2 very, very important things.
Yeah.
One is religion and one is caste. And maybe the border left, I do not know how we have been dealing with this.
You see, a very famous economist, her name is Joanne Robinson. You see, she's a progressive economist. She was quoting Marx, and she studied Marx. Then Comrade EMS said some of her studies of Marx shows that how not to study Marx. So they had big debate and all that. You see, she used to visit Kerala, the Center for Development Studies, where Dr. Ken Raj was the head.
Yes. So, she was very close to, I think, Ashok Mitra when he went there. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. See, I just related these slightly extraneous things to bring out a point that in a seminar sidelines, Joanne Robinson asked EMS Namboodiripad that the communist parties in China and India got formed almost the same time. In fact, if you take October 17, 1920, when M.N. Roy, Muhammad Shafiq, and others formed the first unit of Indian communists in Tashkent, 1920, if that is being taken, Indian communists got organized 1 year ahead of China. Chinese Communist Party was formed in 1921. So Johan Robson posed this. Then Johan Robson said to EMS that within another couple of decades, in 1949, 49 minus 21 is 28, isn't it? Within 28 years of forming the Chinese Communist Party, they made their revolution victorious. Why, EMS, you could not achieve something similar in India? This was the question. EMS sat in a pensive mode for a few seconds. Then he did not reply with a sentence. He replied with just a word. He said, caste. That was his reply. So, this partially replies your question also. Whether Indian communists address the problems generated by caste properly or not. EMS admitted that communists had to grapple with the caste problem and could not come out with a clear-cut understanding to deal with this. EMS did deeply study this caste question. He had written and he has recognized that along with class struggle, you have to address the caste question, and the struggle against caste oppression has to go hand in hand with class struggle. This we would be taking up with utmost seriousness.
So, when you have actually mentioned EMS, there was a time when I was studying EMS very seriously. I read all his books, and I think he is.
Please.
I think he is one exception among the Indian Marxists. He is one exception who was actually innovative. We don't have time today to discuss in details about EMS, who was, I think, very, very creative and innovative instinctive. That much I think we should say now. And in one sentence, in one word, you also answered my question. But I think it's a very good thing that in your party Congress you have discussed something about religion. I think the similar emphasis has to go on caste also. Now I'm coming to my last question. How do you see the present? We discussed the Indian situation in great length. Now, how do you see the present world order in the context of, you see, the Russia-Ukraine war and the situation in Gaza, the genocide committed by Israel in Gaza?
See, our hearts fill with agony when we think about the blood that is being spilled in different parts of the globe, more so in Ukraine, further more so in Gaza. Today we have been reading reports, the unilateral release of some hostages, including people of American origin, a person of American origin, and Israelis by Hamas, so that perhaps ceasefire can again be restored. But in Gaza, not only people are being killed by Israeli defense forces, killing defenseless people, innocent children, women, and old age people, hundreds of people are being killed by Israeli defense forces by sheer starvation. There is huge deficiency in food supply in places. The Crescent refugee and relief arrangement, they are unable to operate. So with bombardment, with shells, with bullet shots, people are killed in Gaza. Through starvation, people are killed in Gaza. Now, international organizations are remaining helpless onlookers. Why? United Nations is still there. They are unable to move because once America and Israel together take a position, the world can be held as a hostage. Now we are all hostages in the hands of United States of America and Israel. We should not say Israel because there are sensible people in Israel also. It is a Zionist Netanyahu and his coterie and America's military industrial complex. They are in alliance. So it is a pernicious world order that is existing today. We have to generate solidarity movement wherever possible. In America, solidarity movement is very strong. Even Jews studying in US campuses, they come out with a slogan, don't do this in our names. The Jews coming forward because they have feeling, they have humanity in their heart. We don't know how we can react in such a situation. The non-aligned movement has been castrated. Non-aligned movement has been rendered powerless. One of the main reasons for the pathetic condition of today is the dismantling of USSR and the East Europe. They also contributed, their own defective policies also contributed towards the collapse of USSR and East Europe. But CIA plan became successful, and now to a great practical extent, it is a unipolar world. There is struggle for multipolarity. That is true. But end of the day, military industrial complex of USA and the Zionists of Israel, they together can decide whatever they want. Indian freedom movement stood with Palestinians. Mahatma Gandhi stood with Palestinians.
Long time back.
Long time. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru.
He supported them.
Yeah, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru stood with the Palestinian cause. Now, if you look at the UN resolution on the creation of Israel, the title is Division of Palestine. So after Palestine having been divided and Israel having been created, now Palestine is not in the map. Palestine is erased. And Donald Trump says he can take over Gaza to convert it into a tourist spot. This is the world in which we are living. This is a sad commentary on the present state of affairs of the world. It raises question marks before us. Are we doing our duty when Gaza is bleeding, when blood is still spilling in different parts of the globe, including Ukraine? The world community remains as a inactive onlookers. This is a pathetic state of the affair. We all need to self-criticize. Of course, we in our own humble way, CPIM, did organize solidarity programs with Palestine. I myself personally participated in many public functions in solidarity with Palestine. In different parts of the globe, Palestine solidarity movement is still on. But international agencies and organizations are rendered helpless. They are unable to move. This is what would happen if some imperialist forces are allowed to dominate the world. Their whims and fancy would prevail. We need to discuss and find out ways through which we would be able to raise the voice of the voiceless, the voice of the Palestinian people.
Two things have come very clearly from this discussion. One is that our internal situation in the country, we need a broad alliance to fight against this. In the same manner, the world situation is such that the liberal, the left, the right-thinking people will have to all come together. So in the country, inside the country, we need a broad alliance. Outside the country also, we need a broad alliance. Don't you need that two things?
I fully agree. So far as within the country is concerned, I am bit, I want to suggest that it would be better to make a broad political arrangement is required than alliance. Why I say so? If it is an alliance, then in Delhi election, two alliance partners cannot fight each other. That's the reality. So what we require is a broad bloc or broad political arrangement or platform. Because in some places, the internal components would take divergent positions and views. In Bengal, that is the situation. In Kerala, that is the situation. In Delhi, that was the situation, as a result of which BJP was able to take advantage of. So we may progress towards a more closer arrangement. But as of now, it is a very loose arrangement. Our responsibility should be to make it a more rigorous political arrangement. We should be successful. And this could be successful if we remember 3 R's. If we are responsible, if we are responsive, if we are realistic. These 3 qualities are required among those who try to work as part of this India bloc arrangement. We should hope that this would emerge.
Yeah. Then maybe this opposition bloc would be a very formidable, you see, opposition against the BJP. So, MABB, I do not know how to thank you for sparing time for such a long discussion. We had set questions, but in between, it was a lovely discussion, discussing various things with you. And I know you have a big burden on you. You have already been meeting the state committees. And so I wish you all the very best and look forward to having much more detailed discussions whenever we get time. You get time next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Take care.